talking out loud about it, except in a courtroom. But I want to thank everyone for having me here today, and I want to thank Gay for the invite and everyone who worked on the sermon and spoke. I'm very grateful. This is my passion and my life's work. Let's see. The topic that I chose today was constitutional restoration. That is a combination for me of constitutional rights and restorative justice practices. I believe that our justice system desperately needs us to restore. Do you need to move down? Yeah. I believe that our justice system desperately needs to restore not only constitutional rights, but restorative justice practices, because I believe that they are fundamentally one and the same. Our Constitution promises due process, equal protection, and human dignity for all. But our current system has drifted so far from the founding principles that we have created a two-tiered justice system where your rights depend on your race, your income, and the circumstances rather than your humanity. Restorative justice isn't separate from constitutional rights. It's how we actually fulfill them. When we focus on repairing harm rather than just punishment, we honor the constitutional principles that people retain their dignity and capacity for redemption. When we ensure that all voices are heard, victims, offenders, families, and our communities, we are practicing true due process. The word restoration is key because we are not trying to create something new. We are restoring the Constitution already promised, but that our system seems to have forgotten. And I'm going to start with a little backstory. This is the first time I publicly spoke about this too much, but for as long as I can remember, until the age of 6, I was abused by a family member. That family member was eventually incarcerated for this abuse, and we later found out that the individual was a bipolar schizophrenic. That person was eventually placed into a mental institution where they served out the rest of their sentence. Had someone in earlier court proceedings taken the time to understand what was going on, I may have been saved from years of trauma that I still live with today. And I believe that person deserved that, and I believe I deserve that as well. Moving on through life, I continued to be abused physically, mentally, and emotionally until I moved out of my home when I was 14 years old. By then, the system had labeled me the problem, obviously. I was a repeat runaway. I was violent, other things of that nature. And so the state filed an at-risk youth petition against me. And that was when I chose to speak up. I fought that petition in court, and I won. I fought it without a lawyer, without any money, without anyone by my side. I had my abusers be held accountable for their actions. I made them admit in open court why I had run away, why I had to defend myself, and why I fought back. And that is when I learned that truth truly has power, but only if you're brave enough to speak it. In 2021, my godson, Matthew McIntyre, was hit and killed by a drunk driver. The drunk driver drove away. I helped his family advocate in court because they were not getting their proper help that they deserved. And I spoke at sentencing. He accepted a plea deal. We requested that he be given mandatory rehabilitation and other things like that. But of course, in the Department of Corrections, that is actually not mandatory, except for a little 6 to 8 week program you have to take. And that is it. When taking this plea deal, this man also signed for his 4th DUI. So imagine that someone has gone through the system not once, not twice, and 3 times, and no one has taken the time to get to the root of his issues, the cause of his pain, or his own addiction issues. Because I do believe that is what happened, and I do believe that he deserves someone to do that for him as well. Moving forward, in 2021, 2 boys and a young lady with her dog were traveling on the freeway when a man traveling the wrong way in an F-250 smashed head on to these young boys. He killed them both, and the dog. The young lady, 15 at the time, had to climb over their bodies to get out of the car and was found screaming in the middle of a freeway. She was found on the phone with a young man who was my son, because those 2 boys were my son's best friends. That gentleman had also been involved with the law before. He had anger issues, other things that were never addressed. He walked up to the young lady in the middle of the road and told her, "I'm a good person." At sentencing, I obviously also helped advocate with that family. At sentencing, we also asked for the same. Can he please be forced to do rehabilitation? No, because there is nothing that they have currently. He was given a sentence that was beyond the plea deal he had agreed to, due to the circumstances. But for me, I still believe that those men who killed Matthew, Ben, and Levi, I believe that they deserve healing. I believe that their families are also victims. And I don't believe that anyone should be allowed to continue hurting people. And that's what I believe restorative justice is. Holding people accountable while believing in their capacity for transformation. I believe had someone tried to heal these individuals, that those 3 boys might still be alive today. And that young lady would not continue to suffer the trauma that I can only imagine she will suffer the rest of her life. In 2023, I reconnected with my now husband, who I had not seen since 2006. He was fighting a case on his own after being viciously assaulted and suffering a traumatic brain injury. The assault was caught on video. The assailant was given immunity to testify. He stated he thinks it was him in the video. He doesn't know why he did it. And basically, he didn't really know my husband from the man on the moon. Yet somehow, my husband, the victim, was charged with crime. My husband's state-appointed attorney violated his ethical duties, committed several acts of legal misconduct, hid witness statements, and hid video evidence, forcing my husband to go pro se, to represent himself against the full power of the state, because we could not afford an attorney, and we could not trust another one that may or may not have been appointed to him. Because he was pro se, we also had to fight multiple things in the jail. We had to fight for him to see a medical expert alone, to review his brain capacity, all the things. We fought for the prosecutor's medical expert to speak to him, yet he refused. Even on the day of trial, when the prosecutor's medical expert was due to speak, my husband offered to speak with him ahead of time, and he said no. However, when he got on the stand, even the prosecutor's attorney medical expert said that my husband did suffer a traumatic brain injury, and that the assault was vicious, but it didn't matter. And that's just something to think about. The prosecutor's own expert confirmed that he had been severely injured, and yet he was still being prosecuted as a perpetrator. During pretrial, the prosecutor came to my mother-in-law and I outside of a courtroom one day and said, "I will offer your husband 8 years. Tell him to take it." Then he walked away, and as he did, he turned around and I'll just never forget it. He looked right at us and he said, "You know, had your husband kept his nose clean as a kid, this wouldn't be happening right now." That comment revealed everything about a system that refuses to see redemption. My husband does have crime from childhood and young adulthood. None was against a person. No one chose to see the person that was arrested almost 3 years after the incident. He is a businessman, a business development entrepreneur actually. He had a business suite that was offering small new businesses a place to grow. He had founded Master Minorities, which is a program for young minorities to come and learn and master their own abilities, and he was a youth sports coach. However, no one saw that. They only see his past. But my husband not only has been rehabilitated, he has been trying to serve and assist our community. The prosecutor's decision that past mistakes justify present injustices, completely disregarding actual innocence and transformation, believing that some people just don't deserve constitutional protection no matter how much they've changed, absolutely disturbs my soul. However, the judge during trial did see through it all. He witnessed the lies being told, and he recognized my husband's truth. In an unprecedented move, the judge reduced my husband's felony points from 9 to 0 because, as we're probably all aware, going pro se when you don't have any legal expertise is probably not your best bet. So obviously he lost that trial. However, he did a great job. However, he was convicted. The prosecution originally asked for 75 years. The judge reduced my husband's previous felony points from 9 to 0, which is unheard of. He sentenced my husband to just 7 years, which, because of all the time my husband had served in Pierce County Jail, would only have given him just over a year, and he would be being freed anytime now. Unfortunately, due to mandatory sentencing enhancements that a judge has no discretion over, my husband has an additional 15 years of flat time added to that 1 year. Watching an innocent man that I love be convicted, despite video evidence, despite the prosecution's own expert confirming his injury, and despite a judge who clearly saw the truth and could do nothing, that's when I knew I had to act bigger than ever, and that is where we formally founded Ethical Justice. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we do. Every week I walk into courtrooms, I sit next to family members who have no idea what's happening. Imagine walking in somewhere, your loved one is up there, you have no idea whether their rights are being violated, you have no idea what someone is filing, you have no idea if it's right or wrong, if someone should be saying something, if they shouldn't be saying something. I sit with them, I have phone conversations with them, I send them education on what's going on. I also advocate directly for clients. Currently, I work with a man who is already imprisoned, going through the appellate process. He has not heard from his appellate attorney in months. He called me, and I did some research, and I found out that his attorney had been fined twice already from not staying in touch with the courts or filing the proper documents. While sometimes this can be normal, once, maybe twice, his attorney has not told him anything. He has no idea what's going on. However, I have been able to send him education about the process. I began doing legal research and sending case law to his attorney directly in hopes that she will apply it to his appeal. He told me he has gone from feeling abandoned to feeling like someone cares, even if it's not his own attorney. Every month, we publish a newsletter that includes a free edition. It is called Outside Insight because obviously it's my outside insight. It goes directly to incarcerated individuals in approximately, maybe a little more, we add people regularly, approximately 25 facilities in 8 states currently. It gives information on physical health, mental wellness, family ties, support, reentry, constitutional rights. It also has a little fun section, a coloring page, some jokes, and it always has a to-do list, a blank to-do list for them, because I want them to know that they've got things to do, and they can do them. We provide low-cost legal research, document prep, mitigation packages, because we don't believe that constitutional rights should be for sale. And when someone can't afford proper legal support, their constitutional protections should not become empty promises. Any funds that we receive go back into our mission, printing the letters, supporting the families, and restoring constitutional rights, one person at a time. My husband, currently working through his appeal, could have become bitter. Instead, he goes to the law library 3 times a week, assisting other inmates, making phone calls for them, helping them with education on their cases. He also formed an education called The Power of Progression. It is a curriculum he teaches in his own classroom about practical skills that include credit building, business forming, the importance of healthy family dynamics, and preparing for successful reentry. Many of these inmates are going back and sharing this information with their loved ones in hopes of breaking cycles. He plans to continue this work once he is released and hopes that at some point he will be able to go back into the facility and continue to teach it there as well. He was also recently recognized in Coyote Ridge's first ever award ceremony for his violence reduction. DOC says they've never seen a class like his that does what he does, and it's showing men in there that they are not beyond redemption, and even from inside they can be fathers, they can be family men, and they can teach their families and break cycles. And just really quickly, I would like to share some statistics with you. I don't know where I'm at on time. Am I okay? Okay. In Washington State, 373 per 100,000 people are in some form of detention. Black people are incarcerated at 5.7 times the rate of white people, and studies show that 4 to 6% of incarcerated people are actually innocent. 54% of wrongful convictions involve official misconduct. And behind every statistic is a family like mine. I'm a mother and a wife. I brought 5 children into our marriage. He brought 4. So while we do all of this, we are raising a large family. He's a great father. He's very dedicated. Some of our children do not even live in this state. However, we continue he speaks to his children multiple times a day. We continue doing whatever we can to keep the family together. But these are the kind of things a justice system does. It tears apart families that don't deserve it, because really no family deserves it. Our hope is to continue providing the free and low-cost education resources to our communities. In the future, we want to expand our courtroom advocacy, print and distribute more newsletters, and continue the growth of the power of progression. We believe that when we help one family understand their rights, they can help their neighbors understand theirs. When we teach one inmate education, they can provide it to the next person. When we transform one person through the power of progression, they become a force for healing, not only in their family, but in our communities. Restorative justice practices like bringing victims and offenders together to talk, including families in our healing process, community circles where everyone has a voice, and finding real ways to repair harm are not separate from constitutional rights. They are how we actually make those rights real. When everyone gets to be heard, that is due process. When everyone gets the same chance at justice, whether they are rich or poor, black or white, that is equal protection. When we see people as more than their worst mistakes, that's human dignity. This is what constitutional restoration looks like. Holding people accountable while helping them heal and change. Every time we use these practices, we are building the justice system our Constitution promised. One that protects everyone, repairs what's broken, and believes that people can change. We cannot do this work alone. Every family we help, every constitutional right we protect, every life we transform happens because people, like every one of you, and myself included, believe that everyone deserves justice, dignity, and hope. And I believe that together we can build a justice system that honors everyone's humanity, victims, offenders, families, and communities.